Sometimes things just don't work out the way you plan. It's going to be an interesting day, that's for sure today. It's now the 8th of June. It's just after midnight. I started this little walkabout right at the stroke of midnight. I left my house at midnight, and here I am talking to the wind by a former Century 21 office. Right now there's a tanning booth, or I should say a tanning booth salon. I think that's the appropriate term. I'm not one for going to tanning booths or tanning salons, so I'm not quite sure what they call them, but there is a tanning salon, Total Tan, where a Century 21 business used to be. And if this video is being seen by Skip and by Mr. Kohler and Rachel and everything else, I'm guessing that means that we are playing hardball, because I'm really hoping that we could come to a resolution of this settlement. And if this video is being watched, I'm guessing this is kind of like my last ditch effort to try to persuade Century 21 to open up the pocketbook a little bit, because that's probably what it's going to come down to. My reputation is on the line right now. My reputation is on the line just as much, and maybe even more so, than Century 21 and the law offices that the lawyers involved represent. My reputation is on the line, because this could be very, very, very easily be seen as me being greedy, and that does not do me well. It does not do me well. I've lived by a simple philosophy for a long, long time now. And I went and got some advice from the police chief of Neenah, Wisconsin, with regards to sidewalk chalk. He says, as long as you write positive messages on the sidewalks of Neenah, it is perfectly okay and legal to do so wherever you please. So that's what I'm going to do today. And sidewalk chalk goes fast. Do something brave each and every day. I'm going to leave that there just in case someone wants to come by and continue my work where I left off. Now back, where was I? Oh yes, at the tanning salon. What's going to happen if we don't settle this? Well, I'm guessing that we're going to go to court. And I don't know if... I've talked to my friends, I've talked to my family, and I think that deep down they think that I want to go to court so I can have a chance to play lawyer. And maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't think so. What the Honorable Judge Wolt said in the courtroom did provoke me a little bit. He said, you know, Abraham Lincoln said that when a person represents themselves in court, they have a fool for a client. And that might be true. That might be true. It's probably foolish to be sitting here after midnight by an old Century 21 establishment and making a video. But I've been making a video diary for some years now to try to leave something behind. And I think that this whole incident involving the backyard is going to be a valuable lesson. With regards to going to court, my friend Greg likes to talk about football a lot, and apparently back in the old days the Packers were so good, what they would do is tell the other opposition the play that they were going to run and say, try to stop me, you know, like, we're going to run a sweep to the right, try and stop us. And they'd run a sweep to the right, and they'd probably dominate anyway. The thing is, do I think that I'm going to walk into the courtroom in front of, you know, Judge Wolt, you know, and be some snot-nosed prodigy that, you know, totally dominates in the courtroom and wins? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I expect wholeheartedly that if this goes to trial, chances are I will lose, because can the system really afford to have some you know, guy representing himself win? I mean, come on, that would make the lawyers nervous, and that just isn't good. But so the big thing is greed, I guess. You know, am I asking for too much money? I mean, I don't think so. I don't think so. $19,000 seems like a very minuscule amount to me when people are earning $250 an hour to arbitrate. That's just the way I feel. That's what my mom needs to be happy. So I'm hoping that, as far as lines drawn in the sand go, that we can work something out, and that you give it another chance, because money isn't everything. It's not everything, and the proof is kind of in the actions. You know, if I get $19,000 from Century 21, and then after that I choose to do business again with Century 21, because I have a lot of ideas, and a lot of them people would say are grandiose, of course, but when I dream big, and I plan to buy a lot of property in Wisconsin. It's important for me to have my mom settled and safe and comfortable before I do what I need to do, and I've been doing that for quite some time now. And yeah, I do business again with Century 21 if they prove to be not all about the money. That's what I'm hoping, that that when this is all said and done and the chalk is settled and the dust blows away, that this isn't all about the money, because I have a lot of big ideas, and making sure that my mom was happy in her house was one of them. And I'm not gonna that is just not negotiable. You know, I'm not gonna say, okay, I'm gonna put Ma in a house where she's gonna be miserable each and every day. It's just not gonna happen. So I'm hoping that with enough money, my Ma is not as how should I say, with enough money that she'll make that backyard work. Let's put it that way. If there's a nice fountain back there and some beautiful trees and a porch swing that she can swing on it, she's gonna be all right. She's gonna be all right, and I'll be all right, because I know she's happy. So I'm hoping that if you're watching this video, that you guys go back and try again and decide it's in the best interest to make my mom happy. Because ironically, I went into this establishment not too long ago, shortly after this arbitration was kind of signed on the dotted line that it was going to happen, and I asked the people inside, I said, you know, I've never been in a tanning booth before. Could I do a documentary while I'm getting tanned? And they said, absolutely, absolutely, that'd be funny, and it'd be fine. And of course, what's the documentary going to be about? It's going to be about getting burned, and it's going to be an interesting 15 minutes in the tanning booth. I think I'll have a lot to say. So nobody likes to get burned. No one likes to get burned. But when I get home, after I'm done visiting Walmart, maybe I'll show my minivan. I'll keep walking, do something brave each and every day. On my minivan, there was I think it was 2 winters ago, I was in an accident on my minivan. How's it going? As I was saying, I was in an accident in my minivan, but it wasn't really an accident. what happened was I was driving on a very slippery winter road, and someone was coming at me head on, and I could see that their headlights were over the center line. The road was such that you couldn't see where the center line is, so the person coming at me was not really in their lane, they were more in my lane. So I scooted a little bit to the right, ended up going off the road, fishtailed, and knocked over a street sign with my minivan. I sheared off the left rear view mirror, or the side mirror I should say, and it left quite a ding in the door of my driver's side door on my purple minivan. And maybe I'll show that after I'm done walking to Walmart. So what did I do? I went home and I called the police and told them what happened. Said there was an accident. I knocked over a sign, avoiding a car coming on the other lane. The police officer came out to my home. I was living in Oshkosh at the time, and took my information, looked at the damages, and I didn't know if I was going to get a ticket or what. I didn't get a ticket, but what happened later on is my car insurance went up due to that event, and I was kind of bummed out. I was kind of bummed out by that because I was honest. I called up the police and told them all about it, but yet they still consider that an accident, and my insurance premium for my purple minivan did go up. Didn't go up a whole lot, but it went up. And my immaculate driving record now has a stain on it. The thing is, Century 21, Rachel, you guys need to admit that, yeah, you know what? Our bad. We had an accident. That's why you guys have insurance for these things. It's not anything personal. It's not anything that really should be emotional. This kind of stuff happens all the time. That's why there is insurance. That's why there are lawyers. There's why there are procedures, I guess, and arbitration. But I think what I'd really like most of all, even more probably than $19,000, what I want is for, you know, the party for Jack Wiki, you know, to look me in the eye and say, hey, you know what, really sorry about that. That was bad. You know, what can we do to make things right? It's kind of too late for that, but it sure would have been nice. It sure would have been nice. It just seems like in this society today, no one can admit when they're wrong. And that's unfortunate. And that's unfortunate. But I've had the blessing of being able to say that I'm wrong all the time. And if I'm wrong for asking for $19,000 for that yard, well, I plan to find out, because I'm going to ask a lot of people if this is going to go to trial. I mean, a lot of people, if I think that I'm being greedy, because it's very important for me not to be greedy. I don't want to be remembered as a greedy man. As an eccentric man, walking the streets of Neenah, waving to strangers, that's okay. Here's Hardee's. I think I talked about Hardee's in my first video, about how back in the old days, when the customer was dissatisfied, you go above and beyond, try, you know, to make things right. And I do not feel that at all from Century 21. I do not feel that in the least. And in fact, I kind of feel the opposite of that. An old ex-friend of mine, and I used to have a saying that all adventures begin and end at Hardee's. But I guess we'll see how this adventure ends tomorrow, or today, I should say. About 13 hours from now, we'll see how things start panning out. I hope to heaven that this video never gets seen, and I hope that my mom's happy, I'm happy, and that I can even make Century 21 and Rachel happy by maybe giving them a second chance somewhere down the line, because there are at least 3 properties in the Neenah, Appleton area with Century 21 signs that I'm interested in. dedicated to doing something brave each and every day, and that includes making the world a better place for the people that come after us. So, all right, I'm gonna head to Walmart now and buy some cherry pie filling.